Hello, everybody. This presentation covers the new cnMaestro features that are part of Release 3.0.3, which are coming out this week. This week being the week of June 22nd. This release is applicable to both cnMaestro on-premise and cnMaestro cloud accounts. So what we're looking to focus on with this presentation is how this release specifically affects CBRS operators and the administrative account steps that many CBRS operators will need to take with this release. So the most part, if you currently manage your CBRS devices and services using solely cnMaestro Cloud account and do not use any on-premise instance at all for CBRS, then it's likely none of the changes that come with this release really apply to you. And there are no required or recommended steps needed to be done, so you're good. However, if you do use cnMaestro on-premise to manage your CBRS devices, then you'll want to listen up closely, as there are quite a few account administrative type changes that we are requesting of you with this release. So let's dive in. Our topics for this discussion are listed here, with the first topic being an overview of the cnMaestro 3.0.3 impact to CBRS operators. We'll talk about some nomenclature aspects that are changing a little bit. We'll talk about cnMaestro anchor account and explain it a little bit exactly what is an anchor account, as well as cnMaestro organization feature explained. And then after going through that, there'll be some transition examples, CBRS account transition example scenarios that we'll walk through to help you understand with your specific account, what do I need to do? So setting the stage, what's this all about? As I mentioned earlier, cnMaestro version 3.0.3 is being released this week with new features specifically created to make it easier to manage multiple cnMaestro networks, especially CBRS cnMaestro networks. The newest feature enabling this is the organization feature. Now, the organization feature, in conjunction with the anchor account concept, which, by the way, the anchor account concept was first introduced as part of cnMaestro release 3.0.3, so it's not new to this particular release. The organization feature is. Both of these together allow CBRS operators to consolidate and automate multiple administrative aspects of their cnMaestro accounts, this being things like billing, technical contacts, automated updates, feature licenses, important announcements, amongst other things. An anchor account is a specialized cloud account that will provide similar functions offered by the currently linked on-premise instances that you're using today, but an anchor account provides much, much more than just that. What really makes anchor accounts unique is that they can intelligently learn key attributes of your network and provide simplified software updates and proactive news and messaging aspects. Here's one critically important difference with an anchor account. Unlike a standard cnMaestro cloud account, it has absolutely no network management functionality, network management NMS type functionality associated with an anchor account. All device management is done 100% with the on-premise instance of cnMaestro. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into some examples. The diagram that you see on this slide helps kind of show a before and after type of scenario with how your accounts are set up now, and then what we're looking for you to set up using an anchor account if you're using cnMaestro on-prem. Let's talk a little bit about the nomenclature that is changing just a little bit with this release and going forward, so that people can better understand how some of these things work here. So I'll just kind of go through some of the nomenclature. NMS being Network Management System. This is the heart and soul of cnMaestro, managing your devices, configuration, events, alarms, things of that nature. So with NMS, there's a cloud NMS account, where you create in the cloud your network management account. The account ID is the Cambium ID when you do that. Then there's a cloud anchor account. This is a new type of cnMaestro cloud account that links to one or more on-premise NMS. Again, the account ID is the Cambium ID. It stores basic information about customers' cnMaestro server and managed devices, but it does no device management. Now we have our on-premise NMS. And by the way, there's no such thing as an on-premise Anchor account. Anchor accounts solely live in the cloud. On-premise NMS. This is just the cnMaestro NMS product that can operate within a customer's network. Now the next three are really terms that live under the umbrella of organization. This organization feature that is coming out. Primary account, secondary account, and consolidated payments. Primary account is when a customer creates an organization, they declare a cloud NMS account or an Anchor account to be primary. All the consolidation features of an organization will be visible in this account. We'll see an example of that shortly here. Secondary account, which is all other accounts in an organization that are declared to be secondary, pretty straightforward. And then consolidated payment. An organization will have one invoice that includes usage by the primary account and all secondary accounts. Talk a little bit more about Anchor accounts to hopefully make sure you kind of understand a little bit about it. The Anchor account is a new type of cnMaestro Cloud account which is mapped to an on-premise NMS. A single Anchor account can support many independent cnMaestro on-premise NMSs. So it's a one-to-many type of scenario. After an on-premise NMS is linked to an Anchor account, the following information is reported by the on-premise NMS to an Anchor account. And that's things, as you see listed here, such as type of processor or the type of hardware that's being used for the NMS, how many devices, what type of devices are being managed by the NMS. And it'll also allow you to enable NMS features such as auto provisioning, auto upgrades, CBRS, updates and upgrades will be enabled by having this Anchor account linked to your on-premise NMS. Anchor accounts are required to create an organization that includes on-premise instances. And here's a little definition about this new feature or this new software that's coming so that you're more aware of updates and upgrades that are available to you. Starting with on-premise 3.2, Anchor accounts will be used to manage cnMaestro X and future premium cnMaestro offers. So this is going to help you with being able to license and purchase new features and things like that for some of your products. Customers will have to agree to a new terms and conditions, EULA, when creating a new Anchor account, or if Cambium converts a cloud NMS account used with CBRS to an Anchor account. And then lastly, this is kind of really important, the use of Anchor accounts is voluntary until cnMaestro version 3.2. Then at that point, upgrades to any cnMaestro on-premise NMS will require to be connected to an Anchor account. So although we've launched the feature, as I mentioned earlier at 3.0.0, which is a couple months back, it hasn't been mandatory. We want people to take advantage of it. You get all the benefits that we've talked about with the automated announcements and things like that, easier to support. However, come version 3.2, which is scheduled for later this year, if you don't have an Anchor account, you won't be able to upgrade your NMS at all. So this is kind of looking for you to proactively take those steps to get your on-premise NMSs properly linked to an Anchor account. The organization feature. So starting with on-premise 3.0.3, the organization feature, which used in conjunction with Anchor accounts, will provide consolidated billing for those having more than one cnMaestro Cloud account. That's probably worth repeating. Organization is really focused or leveraged or used when you have more than one cnMaestro Cloud account. If you don't have more than one cnMaestro Cloud account, there's no need for you to even mess with organizations. It's really for those that, for whatever reason, whatever use case, whatever type of operational practices they have in your network, you have more than one. Maybe an MSP is a good example of this, where you would want to have multiple cloud accounts and you want to somehow kind of organize them, link them together. So an organization allows a customer to use just one SaaS ID for all CBSDs across multiple cloud NMS and anchor accounts. That's pretty key. Before this, you can't share the same SaaS ID across a cloud account. Each cloud account had to have a unique SaaS ID, which creates separate billing, separate invoices, separate support. Now you can have the same SaaS ID across cloud accounts by using this organization feature. The organization feature is especially useful for fixed wireless broadband operators that offer managed service provider type services as part of their CBRS network operations. If you don't use them more than one cnMaestro cloud account, then you likely have no need for the organization feature, as I kind of mentioned a little bit before. Okay, so now we're into some scenarios. This scenario one is what we would expect probably 90% of all CBRS operators to kind of fall into, and that is those that are using on-premise to manage their network, I should say. And that is that they have created a cloud account in the cloud, a cnMaestro cloud account when they first signed up for CBRS, had to fill out all the information of what SaaS vendor that you want or SaaS admin that you want, billing contacts, technical contacts, business owner, things like that, created the account, and then with their on-premise instances, either one or more, that's where they're managing their devices. That on-premise got linked to the cloud account that they originally connected. That cloud account was a cloud NMS account, not to be confused yet with it's not an anchor account, it's a cloud NMS account. And now, so they've started their business. So as you can see here on the left-hand side, this is your network at your starting point, probably as it exists today. What we're looking for you to be able to do now is to convert, assuming that you have 0 managed devices in your cloud account, which most people do because they're managing all their devices with their on-premise accounts. You can simply authorize and request Cambium to convert that account to an anchor account. Now, let me show you how simple that really is. I'll switch here to, this is a cloud account. It has CBRS enabled on it. And you'll see with release 3.0.3, now that says 3.0.4, it's one release further, but this is a development account. But same thing that you'll see when you log into your account after it's been upgraded to 3.0.3, your cloud account, you will immediately see this type of banner saying action required. This is a cloud NMS account that is linked to one or more on-premise NMS. And we're going to want you to authorize Cambium Networks to make a change so that it'll convert it. It'll convert this account to an anchor account. I authorize, and I'll request support. You just click on this guy. I'm not going to click on it because then it'll trigger to our support team. But that's as easy as the steps that you need to take. And this, again, like I said, is probably what we're expecting 90% of all of our CBRS operators who are using on-premise NMS to fall into. Let's go back to the slides here. So nothing in my cloud account. All my devices are being managed, and it could be CBSDs, CBRS devices, or even non-CBRS devices, doesn't really matter. These will be currently linked to a cloud account, and we're simply going to ask you to convert it to an anchor account by doing the steps I just showed. Pretty simple, takes less than 24 hours, and simply is a click and you're done. Scenario 2. There might be a reason why some people have this particular scenario. So we're starting with a cloud NMS account, and the only difference between scenario 1 and scenario 2 is that I also have some CBSDs or some CBRS devices being managed directly by the cloud account, in addition to the ones that I have on my NMS. So we're going to call this scenario 2, but option 1. There'll be an option 1 and an option 2. You have two choices of what you could do here. Either in this particular option, you don't want to keep managing any of the devices that are in your existing cloud account. So I don't necessarily care or have any reason to keep these CBSDs or any of these devices directly being managed by the cloud account. So I can simply move them. I can delete the devices and put them back on the on-premise, or put them on the on-premise, one or the other, like I show down here. And then basically this scenario now follows the same procedure as what we showed in scenario 1, where there were no managed devices. Let's go back to scenario 1. There were no managed devices in the actual cloud accounts. All the managed devices are now in your on-premise. All you now need to do now is simply click that accept terms and conditions and request support to convert it. Within 24 hours, it's converted and you're done. So this is scenario 2, option 1 of scenario 2. This is, we'll say scenario 3, but it's the same as scenario 2, but it's option 2. So this is the same scenario that we started with, except now I really want, for some reason, not sure why, but really want for some reason to keep managing certain devices with it directly in the cloud account and other devices in the on-prem account. Again, expect this to be somewhat of a rare scenario. 90% of the operators, 90% plus, are expected to be all in scenario 1, but we're making it easy for those operators that maybe have some kind of unique scenario where they want to have this type of configuration. So I do want to keep managing some devices in my existing cloud account as well as in the on-premise account. So how do I do the conversion that I need to do in order to get an anchor account created? This is where I use the concept of anchor account in conjunction with the concept of the organization feature. So in this scenario, what I would be doing is creating a brand new anchor account. So now I would have two cloud accounts. I would have the original Cloud NMS account, and I would have a brand new anchor account. Then I would make the cloud account a secondary of the original cloud account. So I'd make this anchor account a secondary of the original cloud account, Cloud NMS account. So this guy's secondary. This guy becomes primary by the fact of a secondary linking to it. The original CBSDs that were being managed by this cloud account stay with it. So these over here still stay with that cloud account. And these on-premise NMSs are now tied to an anchor account that is organizationally linked to your original account that has all the billing information, the contact information, all the business contact information, what have you. That gets copied over to the anchor account when you do the organizational linkage of secondary primary. Let me show you an example here. So this is where we were, our first scenario. This is an account that has managed devices in the cloud account, as well as a couple of cnMaestro on-prems linked to it. So if I go to CBRS, one thing to show you here, you'll notice a banner message that says there are some actions pending to CBRS. You can get to that screen where you can do the account linkage and the anchor account and all that simply by going to CBRS here and then account, or you can simply click on the banner and it'll take you to that page. So this looks a little bit different. It has the same as what we had in the first scenario here, convert this account to an anchor account, as well as it now has link and anchor account to this account. Why does it have these two? Because it automatically detected that this cloud NMS account is linked to one or more on-premise NMS, as well as it detected that there are devices being managed by this cloud account. So it added this additional option for you. So as I mentioned before, what you could do is simply delete those devices off the cloud account, and then all you have to do is this step here. But if you want to keep those devices on the cloud account as well as the on-prem links to the cloud account, then you need to do this. You need to, and it walks through all the different things that you need to do. You need to create a cnMaestro anchor account. How do I do that? Pretty straightforward. Simply go to cloud.cambiumnetworks.com, create an account. There's no charge for any of this for creating accounts. Type some kind of a Cambium ID. I'm just making stuff up here. And then I would say down here, it allows you to choose either an NMS account or an anchor account. Remember, an anchor account does not manage any devices directly. It doesn't have the ability to. All it's meant to do is to allow you to link or anchor on-premise instances of cnMaestro. So I'd click on this, and then I would agree to the terms and conditions, create an account, and away I go. I get my new account, and within a couple of seconds, I'll come to a landing page that looks like this. So I created this one a little bit earlier. And you notice it has a lot of reduced number of icons for getting to different places. It's solely meant to just anchor on-premise instances of cnMaestro. So how do I use this anchor account? So I'm going to click to here. This is a actual on-premise device that I'm running. You can see the local IP address. And let's say I want to anchor this guy to the anchor account that I just created. So what I'm going to want is this Cambium ID. Let me copy it. I'm going to go to networks. Let's see here. Here we go. Administration, settings, and cloud connectivity. Again, I'm on my cnMaestro on-premise instance in the screen here. Copy the Cambium ID that I created for that came with the anchor account that I created. Then the onboarding key, which I created ahead of time here. Save and connect. Hopefully, I'm connected. That's simple. The cnMaestro on-prem instance is now connected to the cloud anchor account. Let's go back to this now. You can, as I said, I created an onboarding key. I typed it in earlier. But now what do I see? If I click on here, I now see that there is a cnMaestro on-premise instance linked to this cloud account. And if I click on the hyperlink that is in there, it allows me to see, and Cambium support to be able to quickly learn aspects of your on-premise, such as the general aspects, features, what's enabled, what licensable features might be enabled on the on-prem, a little bit about your system, processor, memory, and what type of devices are being managed there. Now this takes a minute or two to update because it's pulling information as it goes through. So let's see if I refresh, if it will give me a little bit more information. It might, like I said, it may take a moment or two. Oh, there it goes. It gave me more information. So now it tells me what the OVA package is that's running on that on-prem, what type of account view is activated. Let's look at devices now. Oh, okay. So now it tells me there's 7 cnWave 60 gigahertz devices that are being managed by that on-prem, so on and so forth. So you can see it. This is how the cnMaestro anchor account is learning about what's going on and what type of devices are down below on the on-prem. It allows it to learn and proactively give you information that's related to the devices that you're managing, such as updates, announcements, features, alerts, anything like that. All right, let's head back to the slides. We're almost through here. And then lastly, this is scenario 4. This is really more to make you aware of what organizational features cannot do for you. They're not possible to do. And so to be clear, it is not possible to consolidate 2 existing independent CBRS cloud accounts using the organization function. SAS IDs and likely the account contact business info are already defined as different when you've created two separate independent cloud accounts, cloud NMS accounts. So therefore, they can't be combined. cnMaestro will warn you that this is not possible if you try to initiate a consolidation or linking two different cloud accounts that have two different SAS IDs already defined in them, and it won't be processed. So this is more of a what not to do or what it can't be done with the organization feature of cnMaestro. Okay, so one more thing I want to visually do with you is to run through quickly actually how to use cnMaestro's new organization feature. And to do this, we're going to actually create an anchor account and then link that anchor account as a secondary to an existing cloud NMS account. So just to be able to allow you to be able to see the steps of how you do that linkage when you need to do that. So let's go ahead and just create a cloud account. And we will create an account down here. I will call it Dave G. Anchor. Demo. And we'll go down. That's really all I need to fill out up top there. I will define it as an anchor account right down here. And then all I have to do is read the terms and create the accounts. And within a moment or two here, I should have an brand new anchor account. Now I would use this anchor account to connect and associate any cnMaestro on-prem instances I may have down below. I'm going to pretend that's already taken care of. And now what I want to do is actually link this to a primary account, an account that already has CBRS set up on it. So what I'm going to do as I'm in my anchor account is I go to the network services, organization, and here is where I would define or figure out what my account ID is. So I can quickly copy that account ID by clicking on this little link here. And then I go to the account that I want to make the primary. I've already have CBRS set up in this account. I'm using it. Here's my account. I'm using CommScope. Everything's all set up. I've been using it for months, if not a year or two. So what I want to do is go to that network services, go to organizations on the primary account. Now I already have another account linked in here. I'm going to pretend that doesn't exist. Just you can ignore it for the purposes of this demo. And I'm going to add a brand new account. So I'm going to paste in, whoops, hang on here, make sure I got the right thing here. Close, add new, paste in. There it is. I want to enable shared SAS ID, and I want to automatically, it's going to enable unified payments. There's the anchor account I had just created, Dave G anchor account demo. So I know I got the right account ID copied into here because I see the correct Cambium ID. And I add it. So you can see it's processing that at the moment. And there is the new secondary account on this primary account. It's waiting for me to approve it. So I'll go back to that account, that anchor account that we just created. I see it's linked to Dave G Inc. 3, which is that primary account. And it's waiting for me to approve. So I'm going to approve it. Yes, I want to accept the shared SAS ID and the unified payments. So now I'm going to pull in all of the SAS CBRS information from that primary account into this anchor account. And I'm also going to pull in all the already defined billing information into this anchor account. So let's go ahead and approve. And we should be good to go. Yeah, we're good to go. We're approved. So we're good to go on that aspect. So then the only other aspect I need to do is go back to my network services in the Anchor account, click on CBRS, and just simply accept. You can see it already learned that I am connected to CommScope, but before it finalizes everything, I have to accept the terms and conditions. Here is everything that it copied over from my primary account. I don't have to fill out anything here. I just have to save it. Yep. Oh, yep. It's thinking. It's chugging along. The account is added successfully. And now what I should see in my Anchor account here soon, after it pulls it all in, is all the information that it pulled in from the primary account. I'm set up with the token. I have a SAS ID allocated. I'm defined CommScope was my SAS provider. And here's all the billing information, technical context, SAS information, just like what I had in the primary. And I also see over here a secondary definition for this particular account. So this secondary Anchor account now ready to be able to take on the cnMaestro on-prem instances and connect to them from below. All right, so that sums up the example I wanted to show you for the organization use case. That wraps up our training video here, and thanks again. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Take care now.